Well, we are in week 5 now, and this week we will continue with our study of inferencing, that is how to draw conclusions about a population based on measurements on a sample. But this week we'll be looking at a particular variant of inferencing called hypothesis testing. It's just a fancy name for checking up on claims. Very often businesses will take certain actions and they want to check whether the actions have had the intended consequences. For instance, a product is improved, some R&D work has been done, and the company thinks they have a new and improved product, and they might want to check the claim that this product is better than a previous version of the product. Or they may claim their product is better than a competitor's product. Or let's say a company has instituted training programs for their employees, and they want to check if that has reduced the incidence of accidents on site, let's say in a manufacturing setting. So many different scenarios arise in business where claims about a population have to be tested. And again, for reasons of time and or money, you can't do your testing on the entire population. So you have to do the measurements on a sample, and based on that, you're trying to draw conclusions. So once again, those concepts of sampling distribution that you saw in the previous week will arise again. So there's uncertainty involved. Again, let's look at our syllabus here. So we are in week 4. It's sections, parts of chapter 9. And once again, you're welcome to read additional sections of the chapter if you wish, but sections 9.1 to 9.4 is what you are technically responsible for. So let's look at some examples of hypothesis testing situations drawn from business settings. So, for example, the first example that I've shown here is an investor trying to decide whether to invest in a particular financial instrument. Now, if you want to check up on the returns and the riskiness of this instrument, theoretically you need the entire performance history of that particular instrument, but you can't do that. But you take a sample of past returns, a subset of past performance, and from it you try to check up on the claim. Let's say the person trying to sell you the instrument claims that this instrument performs better than such and such threshold, and you want to check that. So you're checking up on a claim. A second example here again is from a manufacturing setting. You have Michelin, just like any other tire manufacturer. They produce tires that are rated to last different distances. So just as an example, I picked, let's say it's manufacturing a line of tires that is rated to last 80,000 miles. And from time to time, it wants to check up on its production process to ensure that the tires it is producing does in fact meet this rating. So again, here you have a situation where you're testing a claim. The claim being that all the tires that they sell last at least 80,000 miles. And for obvious reason, you can't test each and every tire. So you will base your conclusions by doing measurements on a small sample of tires. So that's inferencing involved. So the third example is one from marketing, where a company has just spent big bucks on an advertising campaign, and they want to know if the campaign has raised the recognition of their brand. Specifically, they are trying to check if more than 30% of their potential customers would recognize the brand post this advertising campaign. And in order to determine that, obviously you can't talk to each and every potential customer, so you look at a subset, in other words a sample, and based on the measurements in the sample, you would try to decide on the claim. That is the claim true? The claim being that more than 30% of potential customers would recognize the brand. So these are 3 examples of the kinds of activities that you do in hypothesis testing. So you will find that it is very much like a jury trial, trying to determine whether somebody is guilty or not guilty. And as in jury trial, you can never be absolutely certain of the verdict. So you will have the same issue over here. You will say, yes, the claim is true, or you will say, I cannot support the claim, but you will never be 100% sure of making your call. So those uncertainties will always arise, and we will see how to deal with those uncertainties in the course of testing these claims. So that's the story behind hypothesis testing, and again, it's a kind of inferencing that one does.